national market. So we talk all things real estate here. And it is April 28th. We are finishing up the month of April. I don't know about you, but this year is flying by, mostly because we're just really busy and have lots to do. But yeah, April's almost gone and temperatures getting a little bit warmer. As you know, if you've been listening to me, I've got a graduation down in Columbia in a couple of weeks, 12 days exactly. And I'm hoping it's not 100 degrees. So we will just see how warm Columbia can get on the second weekend in May. But I am hopeful that it stays a little bit on the cooler side, at least for that weekend. But certainly summer months are coming. My neighborhood pool is ready to go. And I am looking forward to being able to go out and get a little sun, not too much, just a little bit. So we got some stuff to talk about. Mondays are our market days. So last week we kind of went through a lot of markets. We looked at counties, Union, Mecklenburg, Cabarrus. We kind of went through a few of those, and we looked at Lancaster County, South Carolina. But today we're going to kind of look at a whole my internet blipped, I think. So what we're looking at as far as real estate is numbers that are showing a sort of a flat season. We've seen numbers up a little bit. We've seen pricing up a little bit, but I think as a general rule, it's not been stellar, but there is inventory out there, which is really, really important to talk about because we haven't always had it. So I want to talk about a few things, and I'm just going to start with, let me start with this, because this comes from the Charlotte Business Journal. And let me scroll back up so you can see the title. Housing market shifts to favor buyers, but they're not buying. So this article talks about, and I honestly think, I'm not sure if April numbers are affected much by the tariff stuff, just because the tariffs have just kind of started now. I do know this. I had a house taken off the market last week because the seller believed that the tariffs are going to really cause some problems and they weren't going to get as much for their house as they wanted. So they are affecting people's decisions. And that's an important thing to remember here. So there's some uncertainty, but I don't know how much of that affects our market as much as interest rates do. And I promise you this, if interest rates were lower, we would see more people come into the market. Okay. So in March, more than 375,000 homes were newly listed on the market. Nationally, that is a 9% increase compared to the same time last year, according to Zillow. But newly pending sales were flat compared to last year, despite slightly lower average mortgage rates. So true, average mortgage rates are a little bit lower, but there's not been I think the expectation is that mortgage rates would come down quite a bit quicker. I'm not sure what the expectation was, but I know that was the hope. But this article goes on to say that inventory rose to 1.15 million homes in March, which is an increase from 19% from last year and the most inventory for buyers in the month of March since 2020. Okay. According to Zillow, inventory is now about 24% below 2018 and 2019 averages for the spring market. Okay. So what this is telling me is that this is beginning. If it hasn't been, it's important to think about this as far as a buyer's market. Now, typically a buyer's market has been homes where the market average day on market or average months of inventory is somewhere between 0 and 4 or 5. depending on how you want to look at it. A balanced market is 5 to 7, 6 to 8, something like that. And then the rest of that days on or months of inventory is a buyer's market. So seller's market's in the front, balanced market, and then a buyer's market on the back end. However, we have a problem with that. And here's the problem. We have a market where people have gotten used to homes selling in 30 days or less. 1 day, 2 days, 2 weeks. We do have some pockets of that still. We do have homes for whatever reason are, location, right? Location, price, features, positioning, whatever it is. There are some homes that in all price ranges that go on the market and off the market quickly. And then we have homes that come on the market and stay on the market. And some of that has to do with agents' ability to communicate with their sellers and sellers wanting more for their property. I do have a few listings right now where 1 or 2 of them are sitting. And they're sitting because sellers kind of set their own price. And it's been a difficult place for me to be, to try to work with them to get the price down. The problem is if you're not great on pricing in the beginning, you can really hurt yourself on the back end, because if you're clocking a bunch of days on market, there's a perception in the market that maybe there's something wrong with your home, or maybe the seller's not willing to negotiate, which may not be the case. It might be, but still there is, you end up with a little bit of a tag on your property, like, well, geez, this has been here on the market for a while. Although if you're looking at homes in the 1 million plus price range, which is not our average price range in the Charlotte metro market, those homes are good. It's going to take a little while to sell those homes. So, all right, let's get back to this. So I do have something funny to show you. Let me see if I can find it really quick, because I think this is, well, I'll show that to you later. But look here. This is from a friend of mine, Tristan, who has the largest real estate agents closed Facebook page on earth, called Lab Coat Agents. And Tristan put this out somewhere over the weekend. Although, okay, here we go. This is where I was first. Confucius says your house is worth what it's worth, not what you want it to be worth. And so true there. Okay, existing home sales, March 2025. 4.02 million seasonally annual adjusted rate. And then month over month, it's down 5.9%. Year over year, it's down 2.4%. And the median sales price in the United States is $403,000. Okay. So that's that certainly has increased significantly from, 2017, 18, 19. All right. So what I want to talk to you about a little bit is, let's take a look at some numbers. We look at them week over week, and it's important to take a look at these because although we don't see them, we don't see a ton of change week over week, but it's all, I will tell you this. The last few weeks when we've been doing this, I've been able to go on the MLS. This is my MLS page. And I think you got that. No, you don't have that. Here, let me show this to you, because this is kind of important for me. You don't know, I have a terrible time with this. Here we go. All right. So this is the MLS. And in prior weeks, I've been able to pull coming soon's actives for the Charlotte market. These are the counties that I've been pulling. Okay. Mecklenburg, Union, Cabarrus, Gaston, Iredell, and then I have York. And the reason that they're not here is because here's the problem. Up until this week, I've been able to pull this. But look, I've got 9,794 properties, and I haven't been able to take a look at all those. And here I've got no new construction and only single families. And we have so many houses on the market right now that I can't pull them together. So what I'm going to do here is just pull I'm going to pull Gaston out, and I'm going to pull York out, and I'm going to pull Lancaster out, and I'm still at 5,000 matches. So I'm going to pull Cabarrus out, and we're still there. So guys, this is, there's just there's a lot of properties here. Now we're with 2 counties, we're at 4,780. And the only reason I'm showing you that is that we have a lot of houses on the market, and it's important that we take a look at that. So here's what we're going to look at. Our SAM report. We talk about this on a weekly basis, sometimes on a daily basis. You guys know I like to look at this 3-year or the 5-year change. And I'm doing month over month, not a rolling inventory, because this allows me to see seasonal changing. Okay. You can see where the low point is in our market. And conversely, you can see the high point in our markets. Okay. So this is new listings. Now remember, we're having more listings. Look at what happened in March 2024. March, we were at 2,581 new listings. March 2025, 3,000. So we were a little bit less than 500 more listings. Only got a couple more days in April, and then we can take a look at the April numbers. But I suspect that we're going to be up here, maybe pushing 4,000, maybe 3,500. This is our high time in the market. So we'll just have to see what happens. But look at March 2025 versus March 2024, 500 more listings. And then March 2023, very similar numbers to March 24, March 22, 3,019. So we have actually more homes listed right now or in March 2025 than we did in March 2022. So that's good news for buyers out there, because it means that people are selling more. They're letting go of that 2.5 or 3% interest rate. And that's what's happening. So let's just keep an eye on these. Now, pendings, these are homes that are under contract. A buyer and a seller have come to a meeting of the minds, and they are under contract for the sale of their existing home or purchase of a new home. March 2025, we had 2,380 homes. March 2024, 2,077. March 2023, 2,094. So it stayed kind of flat, 23, 24, 25 were on the move. So we are having more homes under contract. Nationally, it's not as positive, but here in this market, we're selling more homes, which is great. Now let's look at days on market. Days on market is really, really interesting. And I know that we've talked about these before, because these are our bigger monthly numbers. But guys, day on market's going down. I'm not sure what's going to happen for April, but I would suspect a similar trend. We can take a look at what happened in March, April, May dropped last year. So I would suspect this trend to continue until we get into June or July, and then it's going to start to ramp up again. Okay. Price per square foot is always an interesting number to look at. Let's look at average, because I don't like the median. 2025 price per square foot is an average of 233. 2024 average of 228, also indicative of pricing going up. Now, I had somebody say to me the other day, well, what about homes that are like more in the average sales price? These are homes 429,000 and above. And right now our sales price, average square foot price per square foot is 271. March of 2024 was 262. So again, that's going up. All right. And you guys know I love shows depending. Oh my gosh, do I love showing shows depending. This is my favorite piece of data. This is it for me. How many people need to get in the door to look at your home before it sells? And here's where we are, 12. This is the average for the entire market, 12 people, 12 showings on average from list to contract. I'm telling you, I say this every week. I'm going to say it until you put me in the ground. You've got to know this number. You as a seller need to know this number. How many people do I need to get in the door? And if you have your house on the market and you've had one showing, all right, we know you're not this is not, the pricing is not correct for you. So these are the things that we pay attention to, really good agents do, because we have this data available to us. Okay. And look, all price ranges, that's at 14. Okay. So I find it really interesting. Once we get closer to that average sales price in our market, it's 12. And then I think I might have a custom here. Like instead of doing, let's do 306 to 999. And then we're going to do 1 to, let's see what the $1 million market looks like. And that's also 12 as an average day on, or 12 showings. So that's really interesting. I love looking at this data. It's not a manipulation of the data. It's just a look to see what's going on in the market. Okay. So let's go back here to our MLS page. If I can figure out how to do this, because we know that this is trouble for me. Okay. So let me take a look at this on, unfortunately, I'm going to do a search. I'm just going to kind of clear this data out and let's take a look at this again. So let's look for all of these single family, no new construction. Only there's a reason why I do that. I think that we have people, it's buying new construction is a little bit like, it's similar to like going to CarMax. You go to CarMax, you know that the price that they have on the car is the price that you're going to pay. There's no haggling. I think that they've done all their commercials about that for years, but there's no haggling. This is the price. And in new construction, similar to that. This is the price. And in many neighborhoods, pricing actually goes up month after month. Now, for resales, I wish it was that way, but it's not. It is the price comes down a little bit and it's a more negotiable. And that's why I look at resales, because I'm interested in it. And it's not that I'm trying to manipulate anything. I like taking a look at the numbers. I just like taking a look at the numbers. I do not understand what's going on with our MLS today. Let me see what the results show here. So there's 5,000 plus just with these two counties. And when I did it before, it was a little bit, here, let me do this. This might help just a little bit. If I can get rid of some of these. Okay, yeah. So here's Mecklenburg and Union County. Here's the results page. And I'm sorry, I'm a little bit flummoxed by this a bit because we have not had trouble getting all of these homes, all these counties in this data point until this here recently. Now, one thing I didn't do that I might want to try to do here is active. No. I know what I did. I'm sorry. I'm having a little bit of a brain freeze here. So we hit the actives just for this week. That's why we were able to do this. Okay, so then we'll look at Cabarrus, and then we're going to look at Iredell and Gaston and Lancaster and York. Okay, now that might get us close. Yep, we're good. We're good. So, all right, so that does put us at 5,000. So let me just yank out York here because maybe that'll do us. Yeah. All right. York is the smallest county that we look at as far as transactions. So we just might need to kind of keep an eye on this. As a matter of fact, I'm going to take a screenshot of this, and that way we can kind of pay attention to it with next week. All right. So here's what we got. 536 active homes that were listed in the last 7 days. We currently have 2,700 homes under contract. And for, let me go back and do one more thing here. For closed homes, instead of doing that, let's do the 21st. Let me clear that. So we're going to do the 21st or the 28th. I don't know what happened to my brain this morning, guys. And then let's take a look at the stats. Okay, so that gets us to a number. Now I know what I'm doing here. All right. 536 actives in the last week, 385 closed. So these two numbers right here, the listed and the closed in the 7-day data point, look, we're not closing as many as we're listing. Okay. This is good for buyers. You've got inventory to take a look at. We haven't had that much inventory lately. Okay. Let's look at high price listing for this week was $6.5 million. Average list price is $677. Okay. Under contract, we have a $6.5 million house. Maybe it's the same house. We'll take a look. Went under contract. And average under contract is 605. So 605 is less than 677, 840. Under contract no show, average 656,000. Again, still below that average list price for active homes. We have one that $7.5 million house that went under contract. And then we had a $4 million house close this past week. And look at the average sales price. Average close price is right here at $561. Now, one of these is not like all the others. We have an average close price of $561,000. We have average under contracts of 606 and 656, which is good. And then we have an average list price for the last 7 days of $677,000. So if the under contracts are less than what's been listed and the average sales price is less than what's been listed, are we listing high? I don't know the answer to that. We'll take a look at it next week, but we might be listing high. And if we're listing high, we need to pay attention to that because you don't want to chase the market. We dealt with chasing the market when I was selling homes in 2008 and the market was doing this, right? The market was going south. We kind of dealt with market chasing a little bit. It was like a race to the bottom. And we had a lot of inventory. We had a lot of foreclosures. We had a lot of short sales, and inventory was just, pricing was all the way down. And I tried to get ahead of pricing by kind of figuring out where we would be in 30 days based on how the market was dropping. And here's the thing. Right now, our market's a little bit going in the right direction, but we're not seeing massive pricing gains. We're not seeing massive value gains. So if you are pricing, thinking that the market's going to significantly improve in the next 60 days, and you're pricing it for that 60 days, that can hurt you. Okay. You've got to get really, really good about pricing and understand what the market's doing as close to the time of your list date as possible. Have your agent reach out to those agents that have comps that are under contract. See if you can figure out what those homes are under contract for, or just get an idea of it. And that's going to help you with your pricing. Because I've always said, if you are looking at what is under contract. That is at the point in time at which a buyer and a seller have said okay to each other. The seller is okay selling for this price, and the buyer is okay for buying this price. And they met somewhere, somehow, and made an agreement for the sale of a home. Pay attention to those under contracts. It's so important. All right, guys, that's what I have for you today. It's really interesting. I love watching these numbers. I kind of geek out on them. I think that as a data point, we got to watch our inventory now. Let's watch our inventory, because home sales are we got a little bit of an increase here in the market, but it's not a massive increase. So we'll just, this time next week, what we will look at are the April sales data. See what's happening. So that's what I've got for you today. I hope you have a wonderful Monday. Looking forward to going up and showing some houses in Charlotte today. So maybe I'll post some photos of what I've been looking at, but I hope you have a wonderful day. I will see you here tomorrow, 9:30 a.m. every day of the week. If you'd like to get hooked up with my newsletter, check me out at cltmarketbuzz.com, cltmarketbuzz.com. Just fill out the little form. I won't spam you, I promise, but I will send you my weekly newsletter, and I will see you tomorrow. I hope you have a great day. Bye.